I have always believed if you stand for nothing, you will fall for anything.
When you need to realize that they're taking away your religious freedom, your pastor is a coward, and they're going to shut the church down in America if we don't stand up and stand out.
What it means to be human is under attack.
John MacArthur, thank God, finally, instead of rolling over, got a gun full of it, had a church packed to capacity, and now the authorities say because he's defied Governor Newsom's orders that they perhaps are going to cut the power.
Our ability to choose not to be muzzled as we walk the streets in public.
The churches should be open. There are no excuses. I'm telling you, I will go to jail before I will close our church.
And I think the last barrier, the last defense we have from any attack, which is our immune system, is now under threat by way of mandatory vaccines.
When orders come, however, that contradict the orders of our King, we have to obey God rather than men. 8,300 persons have died with COVID, not necessarily from it, but with it. And for California, the California statistic is that's 21 people out of every 100,000. That means the death rate is 0.02. 99.98% of people will not die from this. Half of those people who died are over 80. So if you're under 80, you have a 99.99% chance that you're going to live.
City churchgoers may have been exposed to coronavirus.
We've had some 40,000 cases of COVID-19 in Minnesota thus far. According to the Department of Health people, that might translate into 10 times that many. And if it does translate into 10 times that many, that's 350,000 cases. But in 2018, we had more than 500,000 Minnesotans with the flu. They said wearing masks is not effective. Taking antibiotics is not effective. A month later, Governor Walz comes out and talks about 74,000 Minnesotans dying. Later on, he went back to 29,000, and right around then, I put a different video out saying, just the facts. And I said, I'm not buying 74,000 Minnesotans dying. I'm not buying 29,000. And then this one came out a month later, right around May 1st. This is a model that they're using. And it says on here, Minnesota's model projects nearly 1,000 deaths a day in mid-July. Well, folks, that's next week.
Are these numbers
Reliable.
accurate? Are they reliable? And should we be gauging or determining public policy? The channel down there in Orlando, Fox 35, called the Florida Department of Health when they looked at the numbers that were coming out this past week and saw that the statewide positivity rate, which is the number of positive tests for SARS-CoV-2, people who go into a facility, get the test, and these numbers are then reported to the Florida Department of Health.
It's the positives out of the total number of tests.
Right, and they were showing a positivity rate of 11% statewide, but Fox 35 noticed that some of these testing facilities were showing 100% positivity rates.
100%.
Meaning everybody who came through and was tested had the disease, had the virus. And so they began calling some of the local facilities in Orlando and found that those numbers weren't exactly accurate. For example, the Orlando Veterans Medical Center showed a positivity rate of 76%, but when they called, a spokesperson for the VA said, no, that's not correct.
We have to consider the many thousands of generations that have been before us who were able to withstand all manner of risks and who ultimately fought for the right to have a right. This right is under threat by way of nothing more than a psychological operation using fear as the key weapon.
The actual rate for the center is 6%, not 76%.
76 versus 6. Oh, they're so similar.
Fear of an invisible enemy that is going to kill us.
That just does not equate to the response this society has had. This is not a problem to be feared. This is a triumphant hour for the church to be the church.
What has What amazed me in this period is the lengths that supposedly very intelligent, very capable individuals will go to explain exactly what's happening around them, as though it were just an unfortunate set of circumstances. And they're quite happy to accept solutions that bear absolutely no resemblance or are so far removed from the problem that we're trying to solve. You see, the fact of the matter is, what we see as a solution was in place long before we even had a problem. In fact, it goes back to problem, reaction, solution. You have a solution. In this case, total technocratic control of the entire human race. In order to achieve that, you need to create a series of problems. Problem number one, climate change, producing extreme weather conditions that must be attributed to man's misuse of the planet. Problem number two, a global epidemic on a pandemic scale. Both of those two problems give you the plausible deniability in the first instance to roll out some pretty extreme measures, some pretty extreme solutions. Given time, when the problem has been long forgotten about, the changes, extreme institutional changes, will remain in place.
I stand before you not as an expert. As an actor, I pretend for a living. I play fictitious characters, often solving fictitious problems.
We are engaged in an information war.
As we come to terms with ever-increasing changes to our way of life, the question is there anything to suggest that this was planned?
There is good and evil in every people, every individual.
And if so, by whom and for how long has this plan been in the making? Were we groomed at all for this period?
An amazing vaccine.
And if so, what is the motive? In my research to complete this documentary series, evidence has come to light to suggest that the pandemic was indeed part of a scripted response to put in place a number of technocratic control measures that would not have been possible to achieve without the chaos, the hysteria, and the fear of a supposed pandemic.
We know it acts like a virus. It causes high fever and respiratory distress. Tracking and treating a mysterious outbreak like this would take the CDC months.
Anyone who hasn't been exposed already needs to wear a mask.
China. Isn't that where flu viruses come from?
Yeah. Whatever it is that originated in China.
I'm authorizing a quarantine on everyone who's come in contact with a symptomatic person.
Chloroquine, that's an anti-malarial drug.
No. Listen, it suppresses the enzymes.
In other words, new world order out of chaos. Upon further investigation of the solution and measures that have been instituted globally,